Hi there, it's Heather from Holistic Simplistic, here to share with you another one of my favorite recipes. Hopefully you got your grocery list as I send them out before. And if you want to get a grocery list, please email me at info@holistiksimplistic.com. Today we're going to be cooking a crispy tofu with sugar snap peas and a yummy orange sauce. It's a 30-minute meal with 10 ingredients or less. And yes, it can be done. And I'm so happy to be sharing this recipe with you, and hopefully you're cooking right along with me. We're going to start with the brown rice portion of the recipe. So I have got a quick cooking brown rice, and it cooks in 10 minutes. But if you have the traditional brown rice, no big deal. It just takes a little bit longer. I'm going to start with measuring out about a half a cup of the brown rice. And we'll put that in a small saucepan and then add about a cup of water. And I add these both at the same time. No need to boil the water ahead of time. With traditional brown rice, you will need to boil the water ahead of time before you add the brown rice. So we'll get that started. Once that starts to boil, we will put the cover on top of it and let that simmer until it's fully cooked. So while we're waiting for the brown rice to start cooking, we'll start to prepare our tofu. Crispy tofu is a little bit challenging, so I've kind of worked out all the kinks for you and figured out the easiest way to make crispy tofu. It's so delicious. It's a great alternative. If you are a meat eater, this is definitely a recipe that you can substitute chicken or even fish with if you prefer. But today we're going to be using the tofu. Tofu traditionally comes in a packaging like this. It is marinated in water to keep it nice and fresh. When we're making the crispy tofu, we're going to need to take out all that moisture, and that's what's going to really give it that crispness. If it has the water in it, then it's still going to stay a little bit moist and not have that nice texture on the outside. So what we're going to do is take our cube of tofu out of the water. We're going to start by slicing it. You want to keep it pretty small, about 1 inch in height and width, but maybe like about 1/4 of an inch in thickness, because you don't want it to be too thick, because then we can't get the water out of it. So we'll start by making some slices, and you can see here, if you need a reference, just going to make some little slices. It's really easy to cut, like so. So you can see here. I might even go ahead and cut it just one more time down the middle. It just makes it a little easier for cooking. Voila! So you can see I have about 8 pieces of tofu. Now here's the big secret. We need to put paper towels underneath and on top and press on them so we can get all that water out of it. So let's take some paper towels. I'm going to layer it onto a plate. Take these. Then we're going to put another layer of paper towels on top, and then we're going to press down on top to get all that water out. You may need to do it a couple of times, and don't be afraid if the tofu loses shape. It's not going to affect the outcome. So as you can see, there's a lot of water that comes out on both sides. So you want to do this process until you feel like the tofu is really pretty dry because we want to have that nice crispy texture. So if you have that crispy tofu that we're looking for. So again, I'm just going to take another set of towels and push and just press until we get all that water out of it. Keep going. Looks good. Awesome. Good. Now you see some of them kind of lost a little bit of shape, but that's totally fine. That's great. So you can make sure you get all that water out. It's really important to have that good crispy texture. So I see my rice has started to boil a little bit. Just want to give it a quick stir. And then I'm going to put a cover on top of it and allow that to simmer and continue to absorb the water so the rice is nice and fluffy. So we'll put that there. I'm going to put this on my back burner so while that's cooking we can cook the tofu and the rest of the recipe. So let's put this back here. So you'll need a little saucepan, depending on how many tofu pieces you're going to be cooking. And want that pan to get pretty hot. So let's let that warm up a little bit. While we're waiting for that to warm up, now we're going to work on the breading of the tofu. So we'll take your egg and we're going to just scramble it. Nice. And then I'll take the tofu pieces and I'm just going to dunk them right in. Make sure they get all the sides totally covered. Perfect. Now we'll take the Ziplock bag and we're going to pour about a quarter cup, half a cup of breadcrumbs or cornflakes. I used this recipe choice yesterday. You have cornflakes or panko. I mean, there's lots of substitutions that we can use here. Definitely make this recipe your own. So if you have cornflakes, then just make sure that you crunch them pretty good within the bag. You just want to take them and kind of pound them, get out a little aggression, and have those in the bag ready. Take a little bit of these breadcrumbs. Perfect. Definitely an eyeball measurer, so if you have to add or subtract, it won't affect the outcome. So take these tofu pieces that are covered in the egg, and you just want to toss them in the Ziploc bag with the breadcrumbs. In. In. Looks good. One more. Ooh. Awesome. Then we'll just zip this tight and then shake. Just want to make sure that we get these tofu pieces completely coated in the breadcrumbs. I'm going to just move this all around. And you can see that it's really nice. That egg really allows the breadcrumbs to adhere, or the cornflakes. So so it gets nice and a good coating, even coating. Great. So your pan should be pretty hot at this point. So we want to add the oil in now because we don't want it to burn. If we add it in too soon, then it starts to get too brown, and that won't be great. So let's put this in. We want to make sure that the whole bottom of the pan gets covered, gets a nice thin coating. If you can see here, nice coating. So we'll take these tofu pieces that are coated in our breadcrumbs or cornflakes, nice, and we're just going to add them right into the pan with the oil. Perfect. Looks good already. Cool. So far, so good. So while this is cooking, I'm going to add a touch more oil. This will take about 3 minutes on each side of the tofu. So if it starts to get a little too hot or maybe a little has too much fragrance, I always just put a little cover on top just to allow it to cook. Don't want any smoke alarms going off. So that'll take about 3 minutes on each side. While we're waiting for that to cook, let's prepare some of these sugar snap peas so we can have these ready as well. These are amazing, fresh green. Just got these from the farmer's market this morning. I just like to give them a nice fresh cut on each end. It has a better look to them, nice and fresh. I like to have a lot of veggies in my recipes. You can definitely sub if you have broccoli or carrots, mushrooms. I mean, this essentially is kind of like a healthier stir fry. So if you, whatever you like, peas, tomatoes, onions, any kind of vegetable will definitely work. But this is the basics. So just get these all ready. Nice slice. I'd love to hear what everyone makes these recipes and how they've made it their own. It's always so fun to hear from my clients how they've interpreted each of these little dinner demos that I present. It just takes a couple of ideas to kind of get things started. So hope that you have your imagination working. So your rice should still be cooking pretty good at this point. If you want to give it a quick stir to see how things are progressing, this is a good time to do that. I'm going to peek at our crispy tofu just to make sure that it's cooking all right. Perfect. And you'll see should have a nice brown coating like that. Amazing. This is perfect. So let's actually flip all of these so the other side can get a nice crispy texture just like that. Smells amazing. Perfect. Woo! We're halfway home. So let's just continue to prepare these snap peas. Hope you're with me at home. Let me know if you have any issues. You can definitely hit me up on the chat and let me know if you have any questions. Be happy to answer those for you. Cooking is was never one of my biggest strong suits. When I moved to New York City, my kitchen was more of a closet than a cooking area. So I started small, and then I ended up working my way into making, you know, great meals that are simple and quick. So that's really the whole idea here, is to make sure that we can incorporate healthy, fast meals that don't get too crazy with the ingredients. I'm definitely like to keep things as simple as possible. You'll start to hear these tofu sizzling, so can always give them a quick check to make sure everything is moving along smoothly. Almost done with all these snap peas. Look nice and green, amazing for springtime, nice fresh vegetable. Always get inspired when I walk down the produce aisle. I pick one thing and kind of just run with it. Perfect. So got these all ready to go. Have these ready. Let's check on the tofu. It should be almost done. Let's check it out. Perfect. If you need to leave it on for an extra minute or two just to get that nice crispness to it, want to have a nice golden brown on the other side. Just like so. Awesome. So let's put some paper towels on a plate, and we're going to take those tofus off and kind of leave them to rest so some of that olive oil can kind of drain off of them. And that also adds to the crispness of it to allow them to rest for a little bit. Let's take these off. These look awesome. Great. So keep your pan hot because we're actually going to throw the sugar snap peas in there to give them a nice saute. Move this aside. You can add a little more olive oil if you need to. So we'll add this in. If you need to turn down the temperature just a little bit, because you don't want to get that too hot. You want to have a nice even cooking. I'm just going to toss these in. Nice. You want to give it a good shake to make sure that the oil gets all coating on all of the vegetables and makes a nice even cooking. So our brown rice has been cooking for a little bit, so let's give a good check on it. Maybe it needs a stir, and it could be completely done if you have the quick cooking rice. So let's check it out. Looks like my rice is completely done at this point. Looks amazing. Nice and fluffy and awesome. You can prepare it however you want. You can put a little salt and pepper in it. Definitely can do that. So I'm just going to throw this in a bowl. We'll have that ready to go. Perfect. Looks good. Great. We'll set that aside. Let's check on our sugar snap peas. They should turn a nice bright green when they start to really cook. Looks awesome. Whoa, lost one. Looks really good. So let's keep those cooking. Now we're going to start preparing the yummy orange sauce. This is amazing. This is such a simple recipe. It's going to blow your mind. So, I'm going to take another bowl. Got about half a cup of orange juice. I'm just going to toss that in. Take a little bit of soy sauce, about 2-3 tablespoons, depending on how much orange juice you have. And like I said, I just eyeball things. I'm really no perfectionist. Then, here's one of our secret ingredients. We're going to use, I like to use a fresh ginger. I'd like to give it a nice fresh grate. Or if you don't have ginger convenient to you, garlic is an awesome option. So give it a nice grating, or if you want to just chop it in, it gives it a nice zest to your sauce. It's an awesome ingredient. Totally amazing for the digestive tract, and helps calm the digestion. So just going to toss those in. Like I said, if you want a grate, a nice fine grate, it's amazing too. So we'll give these a nice toss again. I'm going to stir this up. And then I'm going to add it right on top of these sugar snap peas. Now I'm going to put the cover on top of this and let this reduce down just a little bit so that that sauce can kind of thicken up and really absorb into the sugar snap peas. It's really an amazing combination. If you need to increase the heat a little bit, you might want to get a little simmer for the sauce. So now we have our brown rice. And check on the tofus to see how they've turned out. Should be nice and crisp. Yeah, amazing. Looks awesome. And like I said before, if you're a meat eater and you want to try this with chicken or maybe some poultry or fish, be my guest. This is definitely a flexible recipe. Take these fundamentals and work them however you want to work them. It's definitely something you can create as your own. Like I said, this is just the basis of an idea. Let your imagination run with it. I'd love to hear how people have turned this into a whole nother recipe. So I'd love to hear those ideas, and then we can definitely bounce off with something totally amazing. So that should be cooking down maybe about 4 minutes or so, and then we'll be good to go. So we'll wait for that to cook down. I definitely like to get everything cleaned up and cleared away so it's all ready to go. Like I said before, if you're interested in getting the grocery list beforehand so you can cook right alongside of me, it's info@holistiksimplistic.com. And then if you want to check out my website, it is holistiksimplistic.com. And that's for me, a nutrition and wellness coach. If you're interested in learning about more, I have tons of recipes and great ideas. So let me know, and if you have any questions. At this point, the sauce should start to boil a little bit, and that's great and starts to reduce down. Looks amazing. It's hard not to try everything before everything is done because everything looks so good. Orange juice is a great option. If you don't have orange juice, I've even seen orange marmalade being used mixed with the soy sauce as well. There's definitely a lot of different options that you can use if you don't have all the precise ingredients. And that's definitely one of my #1 things, is that we can always make it work. You know, whatever you've got in your cabinet, we can make it work. So Don't feel that you have to go by the book, because most things will turn out just the same with just a few tweaks. Looks good. If you can see the pan, you've got a nice simmer going with the sauce. Looks awesome. Just want to wait till that gets down to a little bit more of a thicker sauce. You want to have a nice sauce so that it coats evenly over everything. Let's give it a quick stir. Oh yeah, amazing. Nice. Just a couple more minutes on that. We'll let that reduce down. I don't like to add the tofu in with the vegetables because then it would lose that crispiness to them. So you want to keep these nice and crisp. As you can see that some of the olive oil has actually run off of that onto the paper towel. So you can see that now they're nice and firm and have that nice texture to them. Great. Nice. Just going to take these green beans, the sugar snap peas out. If you need to keep the sauce on longer, you can. Just to give it that nice thickness. Just drizzle this over top. Then add a couple of the pieces of the tofu on top of that. Looks fantastic. And there you have it. It's crispy tofu with sugar snap peas and a yummy orange sauce. Let's give it a try. Oh, yeah. It's so good. It's like sweet. It has a nice soy sauce, so it has a little saltiness to it. It's amazing. Well, thank you for joining me. I really hope that this has worked for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at info@holistiksimplistic.com. My name is Heather Lorraine, and thank you for joining me. Bye.